Good evening and welcome to another edition of Just Winning. I'm your host, Jon Whitley. It's great to be back with you guys after being on a brief bye week last week, and I'm joined by two great recurring guests. I have Jeff Laux, a proud Browns fan this morning. Jeff, how are you doing today?
That is honestly surreal.
Yeah,
I'm really blessed as a Browns fan.
awesome, man. Yeah, Alex, I bet you never thought I'd hear the words proud Browns fan. Alex, how
Yeah,
are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. How are you?
I'm doing great as usual. Thank you for asking. So let's get into the fun stuff. Last night we got a Monday night overtime game, Chargers, Saints. A lot to digest in this game on both sides. Alex, what stood out to you most?
I think it's that that the Saints offense just isn't scary. Like they won, but it's like they don't scare you anymore. In past years, you knew if you were playing the Saints, that offense is going to get you. But now it's just not that way anymore. I mean, Breeze doesn't seem like he can throw the ball downfield anymore, and it's kind of crazy to see.
Yeah, indeed. Like watching that game, I went back and forth like five times if Drew Brees is washed, if he still has enough in the tank. Frankly, I still don't know. Jeff, what do you think? Does Drew Brees have enough left in the tank?
Honestly, he only threw for 325 yards, and it just wasn't an inspiring play overall. The Saints do not look like the same Saints from last year. Um, and I think the Chargers should have won at the end of the day. The defense didn't step up to help Herbert, and
Mhm.
it really showed, even though the Saints won on an uninspiring performance.
Yeah, definitely. It can't feel great as a Saints fan when it's like the Chargers were without half their O line. Keenan Allen went down. They were already without Melvin Ingram and Derwin James. So like really not an impressive win by the Saints in any regard. Alex, what do you think though? Does Drew Brees have enough left in the tank for the Saints to make a run?
I don't think so. I really think he's definitely past his prime, and I think after this year he's gonna retire.
Mhm.
He doesn't seem like Drew Brees anymore. It's very weird.
Yeah, no, he does not. Do you guys think is it time to start talking about Jameis Winston?
I mean, why not? I mean, if Sean Payton can whisper into his ear to stop making the mistakes that he made at Tampa Bay, he looked like a great QB besides, his downfall, which is his turnovers.
Hmm.
And if you can stop the turnover rate, then, I mean, his arm is just as good as Drew Brees was back when he was younger.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah,
I think I'd try. I think you know, Bruce Arians' offense is very much a high risk offense. You're going to throw a lot of picks. I think pairing Jameis with a coach like Sean Payton, we could see some fireworks. Alex, what do you think? Is it time to really start considering Jameis?
I mean, I would. I mean, he can throw the deep ball. When Michael Thomas does come back, you have that threat, and you have a guy who can get him the ball. I think that'd be fun to watch. But like you said, Sean Payton has to kind of get in his ear, get that turnover ratio down, and if he can do that, the Saints offense might be scary again.
Yeah, it's it's so surreal to think that we're even having this conversation. Jameis Winston replacing Drew Brees. I think as a Saints fan, you really just have to hope you get Michael Thomas back, and that'll solve all the Saints' problems. And just, hopefully that's sooner than later. Now on the Chargers side, this was kind of a successful failure. The thing is, you have another close loss, and as a Chargers, as a Chargers fan, you've gotta start finding a way to turn some of these close losses into wins. Jeff, what stood out to you on the Chargers side?
Herbert was sacked 3 times and hit 12 times on the night. You can't get anything done with your quarterback getting hit in the backfield all night long. I mean, the Chargers struggled to keep the pressure off. Cameron Jordan was having a field that he was just eating, man. I mean, he still threw for 264 yards and had a 122 passer rating on the evening, even though he was kind of running around the field. And I honestly think that the team let him down more than anything else. Even without his top weapon, he still looked like a great QB. I would have chosen him number 2 in the draft. I mean, all regards to Tua, we still haven't seen how he's played, but Justin Herbert looks like he's up for the call, and his defense really let him down for sure.
Absolutely, I thought Justin Herbert looked really good. Kid has a rocket for an arm. Alex, what do you think? What stood out to you most on this Chargers side?
I think it was Herbert. I mean, dude balled out, and I think right now he's got to be the rookie of the year so far. Even though he doesn't have a win under his belt, but like he looks really good. He already has a thousand passing yards, 9 touchdowns, only 3 picks. Like he's looking really, really good so far. And I kind of agree with what Jeff said. He said, the Dolphins should have taken Herbert. Like Tua is great, but I think Herbert's going to be better.
Wait a minute. We haven't seen Tua play yet. It's. I feel like it's too soon to be saying that.
I mean, I was saying it around the draft too, but
Mhm.
I always thought Tua would have been slightly worse than Justin Herbert, but I've always been really impressed with what Herbert did at Oregon. So I'm excited to see him come into his own in LA.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're yet to see Tua. I think they're both gonna go on to have really great careers. They both have special arm talent in their own way. Um, let's back up a little bit though. Let's get into the Sunday night thriller. We got Seahawks versus Vikings. Just absolutely exciting game. Jeff, what stood out to you most in this one?
The resiliency of Russell Wilson. I mean, getting the ball back back in the end of the game, man, and taking it all the way down the field, and even going 4th and goal and still scoring. And after how many plays he had, and not wasting a timeout all the way through, he really looked like the best leader in the NFL for sure. He looked like a prime Tom Brady in that situation. When I look at who's my best QB, I want to see a QB that can lead my team down the field. And Russell Wilson looked amazing last night, especially this two-headed demon of Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very proud of Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Russell Wilson certainly looks good. Their receiving core looks good, but their defense looks absolutely horrible. Alex, do you think this team all around is good enough to make it to a Super Bowl?
I think that defense is going to hold them back. When they do get Jamal Adams back, that'll be key to see how they can perform. But like, I can't doubt Russell Wilson. Like it just seems like no matter how bad that defense is, he's going to keep them in the game. Because in that first half, I mean, Kirk Cousins and Dalvin Cook were making them look bad. But in that second half, just Russell Wilson stayed with it, stayed level-headed, came back, drove them down the field, and got the win.
No, yeah, no doubt. And I mean, I think Minnesota was really smart for going for it on that 4th down because I had no doubt in my mind if you gave the ball back to Russell Wilson in that situation, he was going to drive them down the field and score. And as he did, and as we've seen him do many, many times. Alex, what do you think the solution is on the Vikings side? You got to figure it out fast if you're going to make it run.
I don't think there is a solution on the Viking side. I mean, they gave Kirk Cousins all that money when he really didn't do anything to deserve it. I'm not a Kirk Cousins believer, and I think that's their biggest issue. But I don't think there is a solution with this team. I think they're just not a playoff contender.
Yeah. Jeff, what do you think? Can the Minnesota Vikings get back in the playoffs?
Honestly, when I look at their division, I just don't see them getting back into it. The Packers and the Bears look way too dominant for the Vikings to even have a chance of making the playoffs. I mean, the whole NFC looks way better than the Vikings. The Vikings just look very, very messy. I know Dalvin Cook exited the game with a groin injury, and Madison definitely played really well last night in the game. But you need Dalvin Cook to be like fully healthy to have a chance to make this team a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
He is their X Factor player. Dalvin Cook is the X Factor player of the Minnesota Vikings, and I don't care what anyone has to say. It was Stephon Diggs before he left, and now you see how he's doing in Buffalo.
Yeah, it definitely took some of the big play ability out of the offense, losing Diggs. But I will say Justin Jefferson is starting to step up nicely. And you know what, I'll say this: I don't think the problem is Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins, not a great quarterback, but he showed he could get them to the playoffs. I think the problem is this defense is absolutely atrocious. And they have one of the worst secondaries in the league. And in a passing league like this, you just can't get it done that way.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, you saw last night UCF's own Mike Hughes made a great play multiple times, trying to defend DK.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, that's the only player that really stood out on that defense for me all night long. I feel like once Everson Griffin really destructed back 2-3 years ago, that defense really lost its power. I feel like the Vikings really powered itself off of having a good defense and a great rush offense. But ever since the downfall of that whole defense, I just don't see anyone on that defense that makes a big difference.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Let's back up a little further now. Let's get into this matchup of the 3-1 teams in the afternoon. Colts versus Browns. Jeff, you're our Browns expert. Tell me why the Browns are legit this time.
Why are the Browns legit? I speak with a lot of my close friends that are Pittsburgh Steelers fans, and they try to just doubt me all day. But they have not even played close to a team like the Colts caliber yet. And I think the Browns have really put, the money where their mouth is. They said, look, we were very disappointed the past 2 years when we advertised, Jarvis Landry the first year with Baker Mayfield as a rookie. Winning the Jets game, he looked like a promising rookie, then having a sophomore slump season. And then coming into this season, everyone's doubting him. Colin Cowherd's on his back. The whole media is on Baker's back. Cleveland is riding on his back, and he delivered like a LeBron James figure. Even as a game managing quarterback, he hasn't had to do too much because Kevin Stefanski from the Vikings has really laid it out to him. Hey, don't commit turnovers. Let's play smart football, run the ball. Our offensive line is playing at an elite level right now. Do what makes you win games. Run the football and don't commit turnovers.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Baker had a really efficient game, and I really like what they're doing with the tight ends in that offense. Alex, what do you think? Are the Browns a playoff team?
It's so weird because I want to say they are, but it's like the Mets with baseball. Like no matter how good they start, they're just gonna Mets it up and miss the playoffs. So like I have a feeling at the end of the season we're gonna be quoting Dennis Green and saying they are who we thought they were, and they're gonna Browns it up and find a way to miss the playoffs. But for Cleveland's sake, I hope they do make the playoffs. I mean, they're a fun team to watch, but I can't get on board yet until I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And well, Jeff, let me go back to you. Are the Browns a playoff team?
Give me 2 more games. I want to see how we play against the Ravens one more time and the Steelers, because the Steelers have always been our bigger brother. I mean, Big Ben and Mike Tomlin historically have just owned us. Even without Big Ben, they have Landry Jones, a second string quarterback, coming in and owning us. And when they're trying to even just play their second string, they still beat us in the history. So I think the Steelers game is really the determining game to see if we're a playoff team or not, because they are for real. Their defense with TJ Watt, I think that's our determining game. That's upcoming this weekend. So after this game, if they win, you're going to see playoff Browns smile. But right now I'm just going to say, no, I don't think they're a playoff team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the real teller for me is going to be the Browns against the Ravens, because I think the Steelers are going to win that division. The Steelers are just head and shoulders above everyone right now. I think the Steelers have a real shot to make the Super Bowl. But I think the Ravens are the team they've got to beat out to make the playoffs, because I think we're going to get 2 NFC East teams in the playoffs with the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots. So then it comes down to Browns versus Ravens for that other wild card spot. So to me, they've got to beat the Ravens and slow down Lamar Jackson if we're going to have a serious conversation about this team making the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, let's back up. Dak Prescott suffered the devastating injury. It was the news of the day. Really gruesome to see, and you really hate to see it happen to such a great character guy in Dak Prescott. I especially hate to see it to somebody who bet it on himself the way that Dak Prescott did. Alex, you are our Cowboys expert. What was your initial reaction?
My initial reaction was sadness, and then it was quickly, I hope Jerry Jones does right by Dak and takes care of him, because I mean, I don't have any faith in Jerry Jones to do the right thing, but I really hope he does, just because Dak is such a high character guy. He's gone through so much this year. I mean, his brother passed in April. He really opened up about how that affected his mental health, and he's done a lot for mental health awareness. I mean, he's such a great dude off the field. That's what hurt the most, was that it happened to such a nice guy. And then I think football came second. Like, I'm a big Cowboys fan, and the Cowboys won, but it felt like we lost. Like, there was no happiness after that game because they lost their leader. So I think the offense can carry on with Andy Dalton. Obviously they won't be at a high level as they were, but the defense, they got to fix the defense first.
Oh yeah, this defense has looked absolutely terrible and held them back in nearly every game when Dak Prescott has looked like the franchise quarterback. Now with that contract situation looming, it's hard to say what the Cowboys are gonna do. Jeff, what was your initial reaction to this news?
I mean, exactly like y'all's. I mean, Dak Prescott is a successful young QB in the NFL, and he's going to be the part of this new dynamic of QBs coming in the NFL. The Tom Brady's and Saints and Drew Brees are on the way out, and Dak Prescott is on his way in, and he's looked fantastic this season. I mean, we just played them 2 weeks ago, so I had to watch the full game of him just shredding our defense apart, and it's really sad to see a prolific QB like Dak Prescott. I mean, he's obviously not close to Patrick Mahomes' status, but he is one of the best passers in our league by far. Like I would put him on note for throwing 500 yards a week almost, because he has the ability to do that every week in and out. And it's just sad to see the Dallas Cowboys kind of deteriorate before our own eyes. And now we're going to really realize, how is CeeDee Lamb going to respond with Andy Dalton as quarterback, and how is Ezekiel Elliott going to respond when their offensive line is in shambles because of injuries also. The defense needs to step up, just like you both said.
Yeah, and I think that's the good news is they've got Andy Dalton and they've got him surrounded with weapons like he's never had in Cincinnati. So especially with, as you touched on, CeeDee Lamb emerging as a real superstar, and I would say right now he's the biggest challenger to Justin Herbert in the Rookie of the Year race. So I think Andy Dalton's well set up. I think the defense might hold them back, but if I had to go out on a limb today, I would say the Dallas Cowboys are still going to win the NFC East. And that's more credit to how bad the NFC East is than the Cowboys have shown me so far. But Alex, what do you think? Are the Cowboys going to win the NFC East?
I think they're going to win the NFC East still, just because, like you said, the NFC East as a whole is absolutely terrible. I don't think it'll be on their own merit. It'll just be everyone else lost more. I really think that this division is like first to 7 wins will win the division, just because of how bad everybody is.
Yeah, no doubt. I was thinking that the other day. I was like, I was watching this game and I was like, I could really see a 7-win team winning this division. Jeff, who do you have winning the NFC East right now today?
I mean, I'd love to say either the Eagles or the Cowboys. I'd side with the Eagles, but I think the Cowboys just have too much talent on their roster that beats out the Eagles at the end of the day. And I could see the Cowboys not even having that impressive record, like you just said, and making the playoffs. I could see that happening to multiple divisions this year. I think it's just really surprising to see the downfall of this division, especially with Daniel Jones looking like a stud and his team falling apart around him. So
yeah, I would say the Giants might be my last place team right now. Like even lower than Washington, they look absolutely terrible. I will say I do think Philly is starting to figure something out. They got the big win against San Fran, which granted Miami got a big win against San Fran, so whatever that's worth. But they looked really good against the Pittsburgh Steelers. There was moments where I thought they were going to win that game. So I think watch out for Philly, but right now today I'm taking the Cowboys to win the NFC East. Let's get into some good news. The good news is, guys, we have Tuesday night football tonight. 2 undefeated teams, Titans, Bills. Alex, what are you most looking forward to seeing tonight?
I'm interested to see if the Titans look good, because they're undefeated, but they haven't shown me this is a legit playoff Super Bowl contender yet. So if they can come out, beat the Bills, that'll be really, really impressive. And then for the Bills, can Josh Allen keep it up? I mean, he's probably number 2 behind Russ in the MVP race right now. So can he keep up his high level of play?
Mm-hmm. No doubt. Jeff, what are you most excited to see in this Tuesday night football?
I'm honestly more excited to see the Bills more than anything else because they have a lot of undiscovered talent on their roster with the running back core, especially. I feel like Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, when Zach Moss is fully healthy, alongside how Josh Allen's playing, I could see them making it very far in the playoffs. And the weapons that they have with Stephon Diggs, I'm just excited to see them play. It's like the Clash of the Titans tonight, and they're two teams that are on the uprise, and we'll see how they play against each other. The Titans, I want to see if they can do the same thing like last season, just win football games on the back of Derrick Henry and watching, Ryan Tannehill play flawless football. They need Ryan Tannehill to keep on being a great game manager, and they'll win if their defense plays, elite.
No doubt. And, I think if Sunday night and Monday night are any indication, we're going to get a really good football game. What I'm most excited to see more than anything is just Josh Allen do his thing, because I really feel like this guy is maybe the most entertaining quarterback in the NFL. You turn on Josh Allen, you just get a little bit of everything. You get the big plays downfield, you get the runs, but then you also get the head scratching turnovers, and it's like you turn this kid on and it's absolutely electric. So I can't wait to see that. Um, on the Titans side, I can't wait to see Derrick Henry play. I think as Josh Allen might be the most entertaining quarterback in the league, I think Derrick Henry's the most entertaining running back, and I hope to see him get 25 plus carries and hope it's not quite Derrick Henry's season yet. He really comes on second half of the year, but I'm hoping we get a big game from Derrick Henry tonight. Alex, if you had to pick right now, who's winning this game tonight? Who's going to remain an undefeated team?
I think the Bills win a tight one. I got the Bills close.
Bills close. Jeff, what do you say?
I'm going to take Bills by 10.
Bills by 10. I'm going to go 27-24 Tennessee Titans. I think, it's time for the Bills to come down to earth, and I think that at the end of the day, I think Josh Allen's going to just have a costly turnover that is going to end up costing the Buffalo Bills this football game. Thank you guys for joining me. We're going to be right back with our Beast, Bust, and Best of the Week.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Welcome back. Let's get into our Beast, Bust, and Best of the Week. Jeff, who is your Beast of the Week?
My Beast is a young rookie wide receiver by the name of Henry Ruggs III, a 5'11", 180-pound beast. He just is a speedy wide receiver. He has 98 speed on Madden. That's how fast he is, and you could really see it against the defense when he played Kansas City. And the Las Vegas Raiders getting that win against Kansas City was due to the performance of Henry Ruggs at the end of the day. He really split open that defense and allowed for more runs for Jacobs just to bully over Kansas City Chiefs defenders, because their defense is already weak enough. And when they have to worry about the deep passing of Derek Carr to Henry Ruggs, and and Nelson Aguilar also making a difference, it's just hard. It's hard. And the addition of Henry Ruggs has really, really made John Gruden's offense come alive.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. It's almost like they got the guy to play the role that Antonio Brown was supposed to play last year.
Exactly.
Alex, who is your Beast of the Week?
Mine is Chase Claypool out of Pittsburgh. I mean, he had a great week, 7 receptions, 110 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I mean, he has been one of the most surprising rookies so far this year. He's at Notre Dame, and he's looked really good so far and had another great week. He just seems like you can't defend him. He's just bigger than everybody else. So Big Ben just has to throw the ball up, and he'll go grab it.
Yeah, no doubt. I know a lot of fantasy owners are going to be rushing to the waivers to pick up this kid. Yeah, me too, Jeff. Absolute beast, looked like a stud out there. And, like I said, Pittsburgh, I consider them legitimate Super Bowl contenders right now. My beast of the week is Connor Bizelek, the freshman quarterback for the Missouri Tigers. They took down the defending champion LSU Tigers this weekend, and Bizelek put up a Joe Burrow type game, 29 for 34, 406 yards, and 4 touchdowns. This kid is something to watch moving forward. So Connor Bizelek is my beast of the week.
I mean, yeah, he looked really good. Taking down LSU was really impressive, and I was very impressed with his performance. I think Missouri, they're not quite there yet, but they're definitely on the rise.
Yeah, I agree. They're not there yet, but really good showing. That offense was electric. They had their next game canceled against Vanderbilt, which I know what you're thinking. Boo-hoo, Missouri versus Vanderbilt is canceled. But, I'm telling you, moving forward, this kid is something to watch. Jeff, who is your bust of the week?
Bust, Phillip Rivers. Exactly, Phillip Rivers. It's very disappointing to see him go to a team that was really good with Andrew Luck, and I felt he could complete a little bit of that role that Andrew Luck had, and he's really not looked to par. He's not hitting with T.Y. Hilton. He's not. Paris Campbell's out for the year. The offense looks very lackluster. Naeem Hines isn't playing up to par. Their defense is playing lights out and has really put their hearts on the field. Justin Houston, a veteran, really, looking at the superior veteran as compared to Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers has now, not really had a great rating all this year. He's had a rating as low as 60.5, which was against the Browns, and only had a good rating against the New York Jets as a 125.6. So best rating against the Jets, worst rating against the Browns defense. Those defenses are not that talented. So I think he's a bust, and Frank Reich needs to start Jacoby Brissett soon.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really painful to watch right now. Phillip Rivers, just his body is failing him. He's simply not the quarterback he used to be, and it's so frustrating to see a playmaker like T.Y. Hilton so neutralized in this offense.
Yeah.
Alex, who is your bust of the week?
My bust is Matt Ryan. I mean, bro just did not perform this week. They're 0-5. They just lost to Carolina. Carolina's not that good. They didn't have CMC, and he went 21 of 37 and 1 interception. That's not going to get it done. You're Matt Ryan. You're supposed to be one of the better quarterbacks in the league, and he just hasn't performed all season for the most part. They finally fired Dan Quinn, so maybe things will turn around after this coming week, but we'll have to see. I mean, he just did not perform this week.
Yeah, absolutely, man. He could be bust of the week every week. It's been tough. He's another one who's been tough to watch this season. I think, psychologically, he's just never been the same since blowing that lead in the Super Bowl. And, I really hope he figures it out soon.
Yeah, with weapons like Todd Gurley, Calvin Ridley. I mean, I know Julio Jones is out in and out, but still, he's been playing, and it's not like Julio's been out for the whole year. It's just Matt Ryan is not utilizing his weapons. His team just doesn't look inspired, just like the whole other part of the division. I don't think the Saints look that inspired. The only team that I'd say looks that decent in that whole division is Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, maybe the Saints figure it out when they get Michael Thomas back. Maybe the Falcons figure it out with the coaching change. But frankly, for the Falcons, they look, with all the talent on that offense, they look light years away from being a competitive football team. My bust of the week is another NFL quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, coming back from injury. I put him in last minute to my fantasy lineup with Aaron Rodgers on a bye week. Dude got me 1.5 points, got benched through 2 interceptions, and you're playing the Dolphins, bro. Like, you got to pick it up. You can't – I get that, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he wasn't healthy, but, I think I could go out on one leg and do better than that against the Miami Dolphins. So, Jimmy Garoppolo, you are my bust of the week.
What's really sad is that the Dolphins don't even have a talented roster. It's just they're so much more motivated to play than any other team they play against, and that's why they're having such close games against pretty much all these teams. Unless they're playing like an OP, Ravens team, then usually they're in these games. I mean, 21-11 to the New England Patriots, 31-28 to the Buffalo Bills, 31-24 23 to the Seattle Seahawks. So Brian Flores has his boys playing really well right now and taking advantage of a San Francisco team and Jimmy Garoppolo. It's just wow.
Yeah,
They're
no doubt.
gritty. They're gritty. I like them.
I really think it speaks to Brian Flores as a coach, and I think as a Dolphins fan, you got to be so excited about what's going on in that organization right now. With you've got your franchise quarterback who's yet to play, who I'm a big believer in. He looks a little undersized right now, but he has all the arm talent, and I think the future for this Dolphins team actually looks bright for the first time in a long time.
For sure.
Jeff, who is your best of the week?
The Las Vegas Raiders. I always wanted to just say that because John Gruden, man, he really has those boys playing hard, fast, gritty, everything in the books, and they have such talent on the roster. It's kind of scary seeing that the West Side with Kansas City and Las Vegas both looking really good in the AFC. And as a Browns fan, it's just like, where can we move in? Because Buffalo looks good, New England looks good, Kansas City looks good, Las Vegas looks good, Pittsburgh looks good, Tennessee looks good, Indianapolis looked good for a minute. It's really, really surprising to see them at 3-2 right now. I didn't see them taking off this year, perhaps, but beating the Kansas City Chiefs and that crazy good offense, like just watching that game, seeing Patrick Mahomes just dance around the pocket, he's number one by far. Just watching their defense, play up to the task, defeating Mahomes. It was just great to see. And seeing Derek Carr really having success in that system with a 126 QB rating, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Great.
And that 1 interception was his first interception on the season.
Yeah.
And, I think that for the Raiders, I think it's going to be tough to make the playoffs, knowing that you got to play the Chiefs again, knowing that you're not going to win that division, frankly, with the Chiefs in it. And, the AFC East is almost certainly going to have 2 playoff teams. The Browns look good, as you touched on. The Colts look good in a weak division. So it's that wild card spot is up for grabs, but I do need to see more from the Raiders before I'm ready to even say they're a playoff team.
Max Crosby looks like a beast. If he can stop
that kid was
penalties.
A huge steal, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Alex, if you had to say today, are the Raiders a playoff team?
I agree with you, and you said you need to see more from them just because the AFC is so stacked. Like, it's going to be hard for them to find a spot in there. But I think if they can keep this up, for sure. But it's going to be really hard because the AFC they're deep. There's a lot of good teams there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't wait to see how the next part of the season plays out with, we're getting, I think with the no fans in the stadium, it's a bummer, but we're getting to see some really, really good football. So I think we're in for a great second half of the season. Alex, who is your best of the week?
We just talked about it. My best of the week this week is the Miami Dolphins. I mean, going into San Francisco and just stomping them out. Like, that game was not close at all. Fitzmagic was back. He had 350 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, Brian Flores has those boys playing. They're gritty. They're in every game they play. They don't have a lot of, big names. They don't have big names. They don't have a lot of talent, but they play hard. And that's what I really enjoy watching the Dolphins, because you can tell they want it. Like, they want to go out there and just either mess up some teams' playoff hopes or go out and get a win. Like, they're balling right now. They're a lot of fun to watch. And, I mean, they made Jimmy G look absolutely terrible.
Yeah, no doubt. They're humble and they come to work. But let me ask you this, Alex. When is it time to throw Tua in there?
I think you got to ride Fitzmagic as long as the Fitzmagic is happening, because Ryan Fitzpatrick's that quarterback where he's going to give you 3 or 4 amazing games and then 3 or 4 terrible games, and then the rest he's just average. But when those terrible games do come, I think then you get to see Tua.
Yeah, absolutely. The magic kind of comes and goes with Fitzmagic. Jeff, what do you think? When is it time to throw Tua in there? I'm ready to see it. I can't wait to see it.
I don't want to go into a whole nother topic, but look at Joe Burrow right now. He's getting just absolutely slaughtered in Cincinnati, and I just don't think the Miami Dolphins offensive line is ready to have Tua play it. Because if these big big defensive players are coming for Tua's legs, which there's dirty players out there, and Tristan Hill and Chris Carson situation type of beat. If they even touch near Tua's legs, I'm just too worried about his injury risk overall with the team that's not stacked on offensive line. I think he'd have success because the weapons on that offense are really playing hard right now. Like Devontae Parker's playing at a different level, Preston Williams playing at a different level, but I just don't think he'd throw him in there this season unless Fitzpatrick, like Alex said, just absolutely falls off.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just too eager to see it, but I do agree. I think it's not so much their offensive line as it is like his body's just not NFL ready. I think, he spent so much time rehabbing. He didn't maybe have as much time to get his body right for an NFL season. Like I touched on earlier, I think he looks really undersized, and I'm concerned about how he's going to hold up for a full season. With there are, as you said, there's dirty players in this league, and they're a lot bigger than Tua. So we'll see. My best of the week is the Los Angeles Lakers. I think got to give credit where credit is due. They're the champions of the bubble. I do think that I will call it what it is, and there is an asterisk by this season. It is not the same as a regular NBA title, but it's a big achievement nonetheless, and the Los Angeles Lakers are my best of the week.
See, I disagree with you there. I think this is the most impressive NBA title we've ever had. Going into the bubble, you're away from your family until the second round of the playoffs, but your season stops like 3/4 of the way through. You get back together, everything going on in the world. Not all of them wanted to play. I mean, the Lakers voted to end the season. So I think this one is more impressive than any NBA title we've ever seen.
I think it is very impressive, and that's why I will give them the credit where the credit is due. I think it's not like other NBA finals. And at the end of the day, you don't have so many of the outside factors, which I think is why we got to see some really good basketball. But it's just, to me, it's not the same. We're always going to wonder what would have happened if there was a regular NBA playoff situation. So, whether it's as impressive, I don't know if lack of impressiveness is the right way to put it, but it is not the same, and there is an asterisk by it. Jeff, what do you think?
Oh, for sure. I still believe that if it was, going back to Staples Center, going back to, American Airlines, I think the Lakers would have probably ended up sweeping the Heat. I think that the reason the Heat had a good chance is because the pure talent with Bam Adebayo, the rookie studs of Nunn and Hero, and then Jimmy Butler really gathering the guys together, showed that, without fans there, without like the travel and everything involved, I think they really just showed that their team has pure talent. And if they get a big free agent, Miami could be looking back to come back and play Los Angeles probably next year, because Anthony Davis isn't going anywhere. And LeBron James, he loves winning, and he's going to keep on coming back if he's winning, especially with the stud with Anthony Davis on the Lakers.
No doubt, no doubt. I want to thank you both for joining me. It's been fun. Let's do it again soon. And then I want to thank anyone watching this for tuning in. Thank you guys, and let's all go have a great week.